turning losses into.
What is up, Steeler Nation? The Pittsburgh Steelers finally win, get back in the winning circle, back on the winning track, and beat the New Orleans Saints 20-10 in a game that was a little bit frustrating to begin with. Hope everybody's having a fantastic day. Hope everybody enjoyed the game. We'll go over a little bit of stats, talk about a couple of the players, answer a few questions if you guys have any. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay in the live chat. But yeah, this is the post-game show. So first thing I want to talk about is, the first half was a little bit rough. The Steelers did get up 10-0 and then allowed the New Orleans Saints to come back. And, at halftime when the game was 10-10, I had some concerns. I really did. And, in the second half, Kenny Pickett, he is, hindered by an ankle injury. And I think that the team had to lean on the running game. And I think that ended up doing well for the team. I mean, you look at the stats, running wise, the Pittsburgh Steelers were, as a team collectively, they ran for 217 yards. That was impressive. The Steelers needed to do that. You look at Najee Harris, he was 20 carries for 99 yards, 5-yard average, 36-yard long. That was an amazing run. It was refreshing to see Najee Harris out there and being physical and attacking, Now, I will say that I was a little bit concerned with the hit. I thought he was going down with a concussion or something. I know he went to the blue tent, got cleared, thankfully. And he came back out and had himself a game. It was 1 yard shy of hitting triple digits, but it is what it is. It's his best game thus far this year. You accompany that with what Jaylen Warren was able to do. He was 9 carries for 37 yards. And what he was also able to do with the passing game, Jaylen Warren was fantastic. He had 3 receptions for 40 yards, 26-yard long. I think the Steelers did a fantastic job. I think that they called out I think the offensive game plan was good. I would have liked to have seen, especially in the first half, a little bit better throws deep down the field. I was pretty concerned. I was concerned about the deep throws by Kenny Pickett early in the first half. In the second half, he kind of answered those calls, so to speak. He had a big pass down the sideline to Deontay Johnson that got him going in stride. Now, Deontay wasn't able to keep his feet. However, it was a pass that was, in my opinion, his best deep throw to this point. And so, it kind of answered that question. He showed grit. He showed toughness. He was dealing with an ankle sprain, is what it appeared to be. And in my opinion, I think he did a fantastic job in the second half. He took care of the ball. There wasn't any interceptions or turnovers, things of that nature. He was also smart with the football. There was times where he was running towards the sideline, and in earlier games he ran out of bounds and took an unnecessary sack, took an unnecessary loss for yards. And in this game, he was throwing it down the field out of bounds, throwing the ball away, and not taking those unnecessary losses. And so, in my opinion, I think he's progressing. He's going in the right direction. It's good what a week off will do, so to speak, right? Having the bye week, getting a chance to not just rest physically, but rest mentally as well. And I think that's what this team needed. You also looked at what Najee Harris was able to do in the running game. He was doing that shake and bake stuff and bouncing around and dancing. I think he just kind of, took this time, got mentally restarted and refocused, and was like, just got to run straight sometimes and run forward and use your size. And I think that's what he did, because he looked a lot more physical in this game. He looked like Najee Harris of last year, finding the holes. His vision looked a lot better in this game as well. And so if the Steelers can continue to go on this trajectory with the rushing game, I think that this could be a good sign for things to come in the next couple of weeks. When you look at the receiving, you have Deontay Johnson. He was He had 5 targets, 4 receptions for 63 yards, 15.8 average, long of 36, and that was a well needed pass down the field, deep pass that was needed. Jalen Warren had 3 receptions on 3 targets for 40 yards, 13.3 average with a 26-yard long. Pat Fryermuth, he came out clutch as well. He had 4 receptions, 36 yards, 9 average on 7 targets. George Pickens, George Pickens was pretty awesome, not just in the passing game, but also in the rushing game. He had his first rushing touchdown as a professional, or as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and he had another run that was end around that was went for a long run. And so, hey, what's going on? We got Trevor. Trevor was at the game today. He was actually texting me throughout the game, letting me know how things were looking and things of that nature. I'm sure he enjoyed it quite a bit, quite a bit. But yeah, receiving, in my opinion, I think that you look at it in total, the only gained 199 yards. Kenny Pickett was 18 for 30 for 199 yards, 6.6 average. He took a lot of sacks. He was sacked 6 times for 37 yards. I didn't realize he was sacked that many times. That's man, that's alarming. That needs to clean up. That does need to clean up. The not all of those were on the offensive line. Some of them were. There was one that he got hit in the back pretty hard, and I think it was Dan Moore who just really, didn't have his best game. This first round pick is looking more and more like a left tackle, in my opinion. The further we go down in this, this season, I think Dan Moore is really struggling this year. And he's had some flashes, he's had some moments, but there's been a lot of these moments where he's like, it's almost, or he's either confused or he just gets severely beaten. He's allowing his guy to get a big hit on the quarterback. But yeah, when you look at the defense, and we can transition to the defensive side, I think as the title of the show goes, is the TJ Watt effect was in full effect today. The defense played fast, they played physical, even without Minka Fitzpatrick, which was somewhat a little bit surprising to me. I thought that perhaps there would be a larger step back defensively in the backfield for the secondary without Minka there. But like I've said before, your cornerbacks and your safety's best friends is going to be a pass rush, and TJ Watt and the attention that TJ Watt acquired, gave Alex Highsmith one hell of a day. Alex Highsmith had 2 sacks. He had he had a strip sack, I believe, a couple of tackles for losses. And so, when you look at what he was able to do, I feel that the TJ Watt effect was there. I mean, you also look at the turnovers, the interceptions, mainly the one with KZ. That was a ball that Andy Dalton had to put that ball in a tight window, and it bounced up. And KZ is an opportunistic kind of guy. There's a reason why he was leading the NFL in interceptions, a couple of years ago, and so he stepped in. I can't wait for the Terrell Edmonds, Minka Fitzpatrick, and DeMonte KZ setup. We saw a little bit of Robert Spillane out there, and I think one reason why was because Minka wasn't out there. And so, but you did see that when the Steelers, and I think this is why the Steelers, they put Terrell Edmonds in the box and they had him blitz, and that's when they targeted Arthur Maulet with Chris Olave on that deep pass, where fortunately for us, Arthur Maulet was able to break that ball up. But man, I don't know if I take that matchup that many times. I mean, if I'm Andy Dalton, I see Arthur Maulet over Olave with nobody help over the top, with no help over the top, I'm taking that shot as well too. And so, fortunately for that play in that moment, Arthur Maulet came out big, came up huge, because that could have turned that game around as well. And so, but those types of plays and those types of things are, you see, I think that if you have a Minka Fitzpatrick over Chris Olave. I think maybe perhaps Andy Dalton's holding that ball a little bit longer and allowing the pressure to get there. And so, those are the kind of the things that you're missing when you don't have, Minka Fitzpatrick in those moments. But, he had to have the surgery. He'll be coming back. I think he's going to be only out for perhaps one more game, which is unfortunate because I was really looking forward to him playing against Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, but I don't think he'll be back in time for that one. Perhaps the one after that. Let's see. We got some comments. We'll go through them real quick. Claude Bishop says TJ's first play from on the field let the Saints know what kind of day he was going to have. Yep, that's for sure. That's for sure. And Trevor, like I said, he was in the stands. He was in stadium. I asked him how electric it was, and I could imagine how electric it was, especially, the defense was called out today, and I'm sure TJ Watt was the last person to be called out. And I'm sure that stadium was rocking when they did. Let's see. What's up? What's ups? We have Jennifer saying it doesn't help having a different OL coach every year. I 100% agree. Having a different offensive line coach is definitely going to hinder any progression. You look at some of the decisions they made, like Clem, that clearly was a mistake. And, I think that when you look at Kendrick Green being drafted in the third round, that may have been at the persuasion of Clem. And that wasn't the right direction for the Steelers to go, especially with the offensive line. I think, once Munchak left, the Steelers have been having a difficult time finding that replacement. I think Pat Meyer has done some different things, but when it comes to protection, it's not always on the offensive line. The quarterback has to be able to, assign his protection at the same time as well, and let the offensive line know what he's seeing. And so when you have a rookie quarterback, the defense is going to do what they can to confuse and trick and or make the quarterback, get him seeing things that aren't there. And that's very common when you have rookie quarterbacks that aren't used to seeing such exotic blitzes or looks. And so I think with experience, Kenny Pickett's going to get a little bit better with that, and thus so will the offensive line and the protection. It just goes hand in hand, in my opinion. Let's see. Yeah, Claude Bishop. The boss needs to get well soon, very soon. Yeah. I do a Saturday only podcast, audio only podcast. I'm sorry, a Saturday audio only podcast for Behind the Steel Curtain. And I talked about the Steelers and versus the Saints and how this could be a get right game, a game where the Steelers can get on the right track, get rhythm offensively, run the ball, pass the ball, all 9 yards. And the last thing I said was, the last getting right they should get, they're going to come around to is Matthew Wright. He's going to be the place kicker. And man, did they get that wrong, in my opinion. I thought that some of those kicks were deflected, but I think that the only one that was the one that he made. And so, he really played poorly. I don't know if the pressure was too much for him. I had asked Trevor, who was in stadium again. He was in stadium, he's my buddy there. I asked him, hey, during warmups, I was like, hey, how's the new kicker looking? And he said that he was missing kicks during the warmups as well. Missing a lot is exactly what he said. And so I think perhaps the Steelers might need to go back to the drawing board for that one. The only thing that sucks about that is the Steelers are going to have to at least pay him. I guess they can cut him. I don't think that his paycheck is probably that high that, they're going to have to pay him 4 game checks regardless if he's on the team or not. But I think the Steelers need to look elsewhere. Maybe perhaps bring back the kicker that they just cut for him. He didn't do that bad of a job. He doesn't have any range, but, long distance range, but, he'll get you. It's not holding your breath every time the guy goes out like Matt Wright did. And I don't know why. He was, when he played with the Steelers before, he was accurate. The distance was the question mark. And in this game here, he just really pooped the bed, in my opinion. So hopefully Boz gets healthy, but unfortunately he's on IR. So regardless of how long it takes, that minimum we have 3 more games without him. And so hopefully he does get better and is back by the time the Pittsburgh Steelers take on. I believe it's the Baltimore Ravens when he's going to be eligible to come back and go up against Justin Tucker. We're going to need him. But yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, hit me up in the comment section. Let's see, you're in the live chat. I apologize. And so another stat that kind of sticks out to me is the fact that you look at the passing game when it comes to the running back. It definitely does seem the Steelers trust and target Jaylen Warren more than Najee Harris out of the backfield as a passer. Najee Harris had that one target that was in the end zone. Jaylen Warren had 3 targets, and it just kind of seems 3 receptions as well. It just kind of seems that that's the direction that they want to go when it comes to the passing the ball outside of the backfield. I think Jaylen Warren is doing fairly well. I think he did a fantastic job this game again. Even the announcer, stated that these guys, as long as they stay healthy, and he talked about how Najee Harris was losing some of his carries to Jaylen Warren, but no, that's not a bad thing because, as a 1-2 punch, these guys are doing fantastic. I mean, if we just look at them as, let's just say it was one back, you combine their rushes, it'd be 29 rushes for 122 yards. That's not bad. That's what you would have seen probably if Jaylen Warren wasn't on the team. He would have definitely, Najee Harris would have definitely got all those carries. They would have gone back to a bell cow. But I digress. But yeah, when it comes to the passing game, it definitely seems like Jaylen Warren is going to be that guy that they want. Let's see. They played Renegade, and Levi Wallace gets a pick, his best play of the season. Yeah, most definitely. He really showed up. But it's funny, he struggled a lot this year. TJ Watt gets back. He's on the field. Now Levi Wallace is a little bit more comfortable. He's a little bit more loose. He's looking back and tracking the ball better. I don't think it's a coincidence. It's the TJ Watt effect. He makes everybody else better. He elevates the play on the field from everybody across the board because everybody gets placed in a better advantage situation. You look at, Cam Hayward, Larry Ogunjobi, and Alex Highsmith, where they're put in one-on-one situations where before and prior to, especially Alex Highsmith, was getting double teamed a lot. And now, since the attention goes to TJ Watt, those other guys, they have those one-on-one situations and they can apply pressure to the quarterback. That added pressure coming from multiple areas from the line, thus makes the quarterback react and make decisions quicker. That's an advantage for the defensive back in the secondary. And so, what Watt is able to do out there is next level. There's reasons why he's the reigning defensive player of the year. And even though he didn't have the game statistically that perhaps maybe Alex Highsmith had, there's no coincidence that that game that Alex Highsmith had isn't because TJ Watt is on the other side of the field creating havoc and causing attention. And so it goes hand in hand. They go side to side and back together. And as a team defensively, as a whole, they look 10 times better. 10 times better with Watt on the field. It truly is impressive. And I just can't wait to see when Minka Fitzpatrick gets back. It's like one piece back, a couple pieces gone, but we'll see how it goes. Let's see. Was it 4 plays over 20 yards? I think it was 4 or 5 plays that went over 20 yards for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. That was awesome. They had those big plays, those chunk plays that got them down the field. They just need to get in the end zone. I know it's like, hey, when they fix one thing, you don't want, they can't get perfect or everything all at once. And I understand that. But, this team still only scored 20 points. Now, it could have very well and should have been 26 points. But, they only scored 20. When they get into those goal line situations, they need to put points on the board. They need to be able to, and they need to put it in the end zone. I mean, and get 6 points on the board. And so, I think that's the next thing that they're going to be working on. But they really need to get better in the red zone. Again, and this is another game where the Steelers had to get very close to score their touchdowns. Uh, another game where um, they didn't score outside of the red zone, but they had some bigger plays. It wasn't a lot of forcing the team to go down the field. And so, there was even a drive where the Steelers started at within their own 5 and were able to go down in a scoring position. I don't remember if they scored on that drive or not, but they did go out the length of the field. But it definitely was, it was refreshing to see this team move the ball down the field and take advantage of the situations that they had in front of them. In the second half, I don't know what was said at halftime or what was going on, but I really think that this offense kind of turned a corner in that second half. And I'm excited to see what they're able to do next week against Cincinnati. And so, but yeah, it was a great game. It was a great game. It was good to see. Uh, let's see. Clyde Bishop goes, you're going to need at least 24 points against the Bungles next week. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they're 24 might still be a little bit low. I think they need to hit 27 at minimum. To be honest with you, you know, the Bengals are without Jamar Chase, but they still have Higgins. They still have Mixon. They still have Joe Burrow, and they're still dynamic, and they're still able to move the ball down the field. But if the Steelers can run the ball in a similar fashion that they did today and keep them off the field, I mean, time of possession was huge. I think the Pittsburgh Steelers were over 37 minutes with the ball today. And a lot of that reason was because they were able to run the ball effectively. And so if the Pittsburgh Steelers can continue to do that, I feel that, the time of possession, if they can continue to do that, to keep Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals off the field and score, and when they get the opportunities to get in the red zone, score touchdowns, this team can very well win against the Cincinnati Bengals. They won last time with hardly any offensive production. When you look at the offense of the Pittsburgh Steelers week 1 and what they're able to do now, like Jennifer says, and were there any 3 and outs? I think there may have been one, but outside of that, there wasn't very many. And you look at what the Steelers were the first few weeks of the year, it was nothing but 3 and outs and the defense on the field all game. And so, I think they're making some good strides. It's time to build on it. The first step was to win a game. The second one is to stack them. The Steelers need to build that, stack the win, and then gain some momentum. And then they have some games that are winnable. It's one game at a time. The next one's against Cincinnati Bengals. And it's a familiar foe. It's at home. It's in Acrisure Stadium. This is the only time this season that the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing back-to-back home games. They need to take advantage of that. And so, they really need to bring the noise. And TJ Watt being another week in, another week with practice, another week getting healthy, another week of getting back into game shape. The Bengals are one of his favorite teams to play, in my opinion, because he'll rack them up when it comes to the sacks. So let's see what else we have out here. For sure. Aaron Jade says, Najee went straight ahead and looked great. I agree. He looked like the running back that everybody was expecting to see this year today. Physical, strong, straight ahead, not the dancer, not the patient Le'Veon Bell style running back, the more of the physical bruiser type of running back. And I think that's what we got today. It got to the point where I think that the New Orleans Saints didn't want to hit him so much anymore. And that's what we need to get to. The Steelers need to get to that place and really take over games. 37 minutes time of possession was huge. Huge. Let's see. Aaron J says that Kazi looked good. Yeah, he really did, in my opinion. And that personal foul that they gave him on that hit on Olave, I mean, I get it. It's bang bang. It's close, but it looked like he didn't lead with his helmet. It looked like it was shoulder to shoulder. But I got the benefit of watching a replay in slow motion. But that one, I don't know. I don't know. I get it. It's player safety, and if it looks bad, they're gonna throw the flag. It's just it just sucks when it's, in my opinion, it's a clean hit, and then you're getting penalized for it. But I think it was a that was should have been a no call. That should have been a no call. Let's see. Yep, Cloud Bishop, 100% right. They were awesome between the 20. Today it's the red zone where things get stupid. I agree. I agree. They have so much trouble getting into the red zone. And for a team that practices 7 shots, for a team that hey, Big Blue, how's it going? For a team that practices 7 shots and prides themselves on on 2 minute and red zone, they're really struggling in that department this year. Is it a product of a young team? Probably. If it's a product of losing a franchise quarterback that was, unfazable in those moments or in those big moments, probably also. And so, I think the Steelers will get better, but they need to definitely clean that up because right now it's not looking so good. Let's see. Olavi got laid out a lot today. Welcome to the NFL, rookie. Yeah, he sure did. It was a tough game for him. It definitely was. And this is true. This is true. There was some food today in the Daniel J residence. Game day equals food for me. What do you guys do for y'all's game day? Y'all go around with friends, barbecue? Do y'all have a ritual or anything? Let me know in the live chat. But me and the wife, we tend to get food in. If the Steelers win, we'll probably get the same thing over and over again. So, babe, it seems like we're gonna have pulled brisket next pulled pork. I'm sorry, next weekend. But yeah, no, it was an exciting game. I was a little bit concerned and frustrated when halftime came, but by the time that the end of the half came around, man, it was the second half, they really turned a corner. I really think so. And I really think that the receivers and the quarterback are they're gelling. They're building that chemistry. They're getting better. You look at the addition by subtraction is what I've been calling the Chase Claypool trade, which the Chicago Bears lost again today. And so that deal is only looking better and better as the Pittsburgh Steelers might have a very high second round pick. Let's see. Yeah. Cloud Bishop says he watches it at home and he'll watch it on live stream. Nice, nice. Yeah, I watch it at home, and I was asked by an app called Relevant App, and they do a Manning cast style broadcast throughout the games, and I was asked to be one of the guys to cover the Steelers potentially. We're still talking about it, but I don't know if I could ever live stream a game. I've tried it. I did it in the preseason with Mark Davison from Steelers Nation Australia, and it was fun, but it was a preseason game. I don't know if I can do it the regular season. I get a little crazy. Let's see. Jennifer says, my dog wears his jersey, and when I cheer, he howls and gets a treat. He was happy today. Oh, man. My dogs, I give them a treat too. Every time the Steelers score a touchdown, I yell, touchdown Steelers, and I give them a treat. So they've every time the Steelers score, they get accustomed to getting a treat. It's gotten so bad though, where if I'm playing like Madden or if I'm watching the replay, I got to push mute because if the announcers say touchdown Steelers, my dogs get up like, oh, it's time for a treat. Let's see. Cloud Bishop says, not what's up, Brian. Oh, well, hold on. I got to block this. Give me a second. Wow. There it goes. There it is. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Had some of Mark Davis and subscribers come into my live chat. The bots. Let's see. Chase Claypool had one catch for 8 yards today. Wow, man, that trade is looking better and better. I mean, nothing against the guy. I hope he does well after this year. Once this trade value is as best as it possibly can. But you know, I don't think he was that guy. He had a great first rookie season. How much of that was him? How much of that was Ben Roethlisberger coming back? It could have been one or the other. And so the more he plays, the more it's means it was the right decision. Definitely does. Let's see. Jared Devil says he catches every game with his dad. That's awesome. Me and my dad used to watch all the games back when I lived closer. I moved away, so it's a little bit farther away. Brian says, great day to be a Steelers fan. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah, the Browns got the Brownies lost as well. And so the Steelers are now they're not last alone anymore in the AFC North. They're still technically last because they lost to the Browns. So the Browns have the currently have the tiebreaker, and so the Steelers are still last in the AFC North, but not for long, not for long. Well, guys, I want to say thank you to everybody in the live chat and everybody that participated and comment. That's going to do it for me today. The Steelers win. One game closer to respectability. One game closer for us talking maybe playoffs, but not yet. I think that conversation don't happen until the Steelers get closer to 500. But tomorrow morning, I have a video that I already recorded. It'll be out. We'll be talking about players of the game on offense and defense. You don't want to miss it. So please hit that like and subscribe. But with that being said, guys, thank you a lot. Thank you for joining in. Excuse me. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't want to cough in the microphone. It hurt y'all's ears. But that being said, guys, the Steelers win. Steelers win big, 20-10. Move on one step closer to 500. Another step out of the basement. So with that being said, guys, I'm Daniel J. This is State of the Steelers. Peace.